Good evening. It is now 7 o'clock. We will begin tonight's council meeting, called Meeting to Order. First up is opening prayer, and Reverend Phil Anderson from Bethel Church of Tallmadge will be giving our opening prayer. Please stand.
Let's pray. God, thank you for the leadership that you've blessed our city with. God, our leaders are a gift to us from you, and we lift them up in prayer today. I ask you, Lord, that you would guide them tonight, and your word says if we ever lack wisdom, we can ask it of you, so that's what we do today. And may everything that is done and that is said bring glory to you tonight, and we'll thank you in your name. Amen.
Amen. Next up, we have our Pledge of Allegiance, and Donald Beckett is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next up, roll call.
Jonathan Bolus,
Mr. Bolus is absent this evening. Excused.
Christine Sippa,
Here.
Jessica Epstein,
Here.
Donald Pavlik,
Here.
Tracy Pletcher,
Here.
Ted Roy,
Here.
Nick Rubino,
Mr. Rubino is excused this evening. Okay, with that, there are 5 in attendance today. Next up is correcting and adopting the previous meeting minutes on 5/22/2025, the council meeting minutes. I will need a motion for that.
Motion to accept the meeting minutes of 5/22/25.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Christine Sippa,
Yes.
Jessica Epstein,
Yes.
Donald Pavlik,
Yes.
Tracy Pletcher,
Yes.
Ted Roy,
Yes.
Okay, with that, the minutes pass with a motion of 5-0. Next up is the financial reports. Fire and EMS transfer in the amount of $205,000. Street maintenance and repair fund transfer in the amount of $175,000. And police pension in the amount of $7,500 to council on 5/29/25. Appropriation, yeah.
That transfer was for, sorry, I'm off. That transfer was for $75,000. The police pension fund, that's a
75,000.
correction, please.
Please note that correction on the agenda in the minutes, that the police pension transfer was $75,000 to council on 5/29/25. Thank you, Ms. Gilbride. Appropriation report, fund report, and revenue report for the period 5/31/25 to council on 6/6/25. May financial reports to council on 6/6/25. Tallmadge Recreation Center profit and loss report for the period ending 5/31/25 to council on 6/6/25. Income tax comparison for the period ending 5/31/25 to council on 6/6/25. Income tax by source report for the month of May to council on 6/6/25. And revenue comparisons for the major funds for the period ending 5/31/25 to council on 6/6/25. And the consolidated investment portfolio for the period of ending 5/31/25 to council on 6/6/25.
I'm sorry, Mr. Pavlik, to correct the police pension transfer, again, it was actually $87,500.
$87,500.
I knew it wasn't 7,500.
All right, so there was an 8 missing, not a 0.
There is an 8 missing, not a.
Okay, all right. So to read that again, fire and EMS transfer in the amount of $205,000, street maintenance and repair fund transfer in the amount of $175,000, and the police pension in the amount of $87,500 to council on 5/29/25.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Is there a motion to accept those reports?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Jessica Epstein,
Yes.
Donald Pavlik,
Yes.
Tracy Pletcher,
Yes.
Ted Roy,
Yes.
Christine Sippa,
Yes.
Okay, with that, the financial reports pass with a motion of 5-0. Next on the agenda is a public hearing And the public hearing ordinance 2025-51. This is in the Planning and Zoning Committee, so I will turn this meeting over to Ms. Pletcher. Ms. Pletcher, will you begin the public hearing?
Thank you. I call the Planning and Zoning Committee to order. We have a public hearing this evening on ordinance 2025-51, which is in third reading, amending ordinance 77-2009, creating the list of recognized heritage structures to remove 12 Southwest Avenue. It is now 7:06 p.m., and I call the public hearing for ordinance 2025-51 to order. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on ordinance 2025-51? Please come to the podium. Okay, is there anyone who wishes to speak against ordinance 2025-51? Please come to the podium. Okay, second time, is there anyone who would like to speak in favor of ordinance 2025-51? Please come to the podium. Okay, is there anyone who would like to speak against ordinance 2025-51? Okay, third and final time, is there anyone who would like to speak in favor or against ordinance 2025-51? Please come to the podium. Okay, hearing none, it is 7:07 p.m. and I will close the public hearing. Is there any discussion on ordinance 2025-51? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Donald Pavlik,
Yes.
Tracy Pletcher,
Yes.
Ted Roy,
Yes.
Christine Zippa,
Yes.
Jessica Epstein,
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2025-51 passes with a vote of 5-0. And I hear,
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Pletcher. I appreciate that. Next on the agenda is community input, and this is the part of the council meeting where the community can come to the podium and speak if they wish on anything that's not listed in the agenda. And if they want to talk about something that's in the agenda, they can save it for that time. Is there anybody that wishes to come to speak? Okay, there's none. We move on. Next up, and I should have announced this at the beginning of council meeting, that we will go into the executive session for matters of collecting bargaining matters. When we return, we will continue with the meeting. Can I have a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing collective bargaining matters?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We have a first and a second. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Tracy Pletcher,
yes.
Ted Roy,
Yes.
Christine Zippa,
Yes.
Jessica Epstein,
Yes.
Donald Pavlik.
Yes. Okay, with that, it passes 5-0. So at 7:08 p.m., we will be going into executive session, and upon ending that executive session, we will go back onto council floor. Okay, the time is now 8:08, and we are back from executive session, so we will resume our normal council meeting. It should be noted that Mr. Roy had to leave and will be excused and will be absent the remainder of the council meeting. Next on the agenda is reports from administrative officers. Mayor, will you please kick it off?
Thank you. I'm just going to keep this very brief because it's been a long meeting already. I have attended several legislative updates. I attended the Northeast Ohio Mayors and City Managers Columbus Day event. I attended the Greater Cleveland Partnership Local Leadership event in DC and the Ohio Municipal League's annual Mayors Conference in Columbus, just finishing up this afternoon, getting updates on our state legislation and budget process. And it's been something. It's been something. We're going to really have to sharpen our pencils on our budget because our funding is not going to be coming in as we've been able to enjoy over the last several years. We did have a successful Memorial Day event. I want to thank everyone that came and participated in that as well. We did swear in our 29th police officer, Aaron Fursick, and then we did swear in another full-time firefighter paramedic, Nick, I'm going to try to say this, Rosinski. I think I got it, Rosinski. I had to think about it. We also had the grand opening of McGuire Park, which is in the JED right next to the VA Center that is almost up and running. It's a beautiful building there, too. It's over on Cascade Boulevard. It's a nice park in the JED that actually the land was donated by a Tallmadge family, the McGuires, and that's who it's named after. And so that was last Saturday. And then our farmers market started today, and I'll let Joe go ahead and discuss that. On the rec side, MACA did sell out on all their passes. One of the specials they're running is 99 days for $99. That's through from June 1st through the end of the month. And I think Mike has a couple other things that he'll discuss on the rec side as well. My next after hours with the mayor is on June 26th. And then just an update on mapping the neighborhood center overlay on Northeast Avenue. We did have our community engagement meeting on May 27th. It was very well attended. Next steps on that is filing the application at Planning and Zoning, which was just on June 5th, which was done. So there will be a public meeting at the Planning and Zoning Commission on July 1st. The Planning and Zoning meeting in July is moved to July 1st because their normal day would be July 4th, and they don't want to meet on that day. I don't blame them. Then the public hearing will be at council roughly around July 24th, and then if approved, the amendment becomes effective in August. And end of report.
Thank you. Next up is Director of Administration, Mr. Iguazito.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Mr. Pavlik. Just a couple of brief updates. The farmers market opened up today, and we tied our record as of last year. Same numbers last year. We had 54 vendors, so it was a wonderful event. I was out there earlier. It will take a break next week for the Juneteenth holiday, and it will resume on June 26th. So as I encouraged everyone last year, please stop out and visit the Tallmadge Farmers Market. Ms. Poole will provide her economic report at the next council meeting on the 26th. I just wanted to update everyone that we did attend a professional development, education development in Columbus with the Ohio Economic Development Association last week. It was a fantastic event, and she'll be reporting out on that. But there are a lot of great things going on with Ohio Jobs in OEDA. So proud to be a member of that, and more to follow next week. That's all I have pending your questions.
Thank you very much. Next up, we'll skip Economic Development. Ms. Poole. Next up is Director of Public Service, Mr. Rohr.
Good evening. For the month of May, we had 78 total permits issued for the month, 40 of which were zoning certificates, so your fences and that sort of stuff. Code violations, we had 52 open violations, 19 of which were property disrepair, 10 of which were high grass. We had 3 total burials for the month. Rec Center. You can see the numbers there. We are averaging about 600 visitors per day right now, which is really good. That's pre-COVID numbers. You can see there Touch a Truck, which is June 14th, 10 a.m. to 12. You also have music on the Circle of the Revolutionary Pie, which is Beatles tribute, June 26th, same day as the next Farmers Market. Keep in mind the Rec Center is closed on July 4th, and that's a Friday this year. The pool numbers are good. We're having success with the B&K Root Beer folks running the concession stand. Where they're actually selling out of product over there on those couple days they've been open, which is good. Tallmadge Circle in the parks. Does everybody know what these pictures are? These are folks that run into stuff that drive through the Tallmadge Circle. So starting next week, we're putting up guardrails at certain areas in Tallmadge Circle. Those are all different accidents too, by the way. And guardrails at Tallmadge Circle is not something new, so this is a 1933 photograph, and you can see the white bollards that are there. And ironically, we're going to, and this will be the guardrail we're putting up. It's a wood guardrail. It's aesthetically pleasing. It'll be set off by about 7 to 10 feet off the curb of the circle. And there again, kind of looks like the 1933 photograph there. We're putting them right across 5 of the 8 spokes. These 5 spokes are the ones that are breached the most.
What time of day were those accidents?
Ironically, most of them occur after 10, but we have had 2 that have occurred at 7 p.m. And 7 p.m. is not a fun time to be on the circle. Also, next week, the splitter island in front of the old town hall, we have had no success growing any vegetation in there. So we're going to remove all the vegetation and put in a stamped concrete to match the promenade and the veterans. And that goes on next week. So there again, with the paving going on this week and the guardrail starting in the splitter island, it should be quite a bit of activity going on at the circle. Street department. Busy month. You can see what they did. I'm not going to read everything there. I will say that it took us 160 hours for the Memorial Day setup. It's quite a bit. 43 hours and 3 storm cleanups. And we had the training, pesticide, berm mumming, and GIS training. The water tower. It's been completely painted, rehabbed on the outside. Pieces were fixed to get access to it. The bolts were all tightened. A couple tie rods were added. Keep in mind, this is part of an EPA audit that we were failing at maintaining our water tower. And so the outside's been done. In 3 years, we're going to do the inside of the tank. So just keep that in mind. So we should be back up and running with the water tower tomorrow. And you can see with the utility department, you can read it there. I'm not going to read it to you. 6,591 feet was televised of sanitary sewer, and we cleaned that much as well. Usually we don't clean that much, but we were able to do it. The employees also focused on the water tower. So with the water tower being out of commission, you got to run everything on pumps, and that's fine as long as you don't have a fire or 2 or 3, and that's what we had while the water tower was down. So the guys did a nice job keeping the pumps running and was able to keep the pressure in the lines. Also, 3-point repairs on the sanitary sewer on Van Ever were made, and that's the picture there. That's pretty deep. That's about 12 feet deep in the ground, so the guys did a nice job on that as well. And in my report, if there's any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to acknowledge, I know you played a part in getting the D&K in there at the pool, so we appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome, not a problem at all. I know, and they will also then be coming to the rec center.
Center.
And they'll be opening their concession stand at the rec center, and they'll be our contractor there, so that'll be a great addition to the rec
Awesome.
center as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome,
Thank you.
thank you.
And Mr. Rohr, one question.
Yes.
The Carvo will start Indian Hills after the circle?
No, we switched to Dunbar. We had Dunbar
Okay.
done instead of Indian Hills.
Okay, all right. Is Indian Hills needed at some point?
It does, it needs it, but we're looking at putting sidewalks on Indian Hills,
Okay,
and there's no sense in paving it and then coming back through and tearing it all up.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other questions for Mr. Rohr?
I just had one item, if I can follow up. I know that a couple of us received some safety concerns about parking during some of the Little League games, and I've spoken to a couple of you all about it. So for context, the complaint or concern that council received was parking on both sides of the road and restricting safety vehicles from accessing the roads during Little League games. So one of the things that we had talked about, Mayor, was utilizing Little League to see if they can help communicate parking. And then that we are also going to put up parking signs, is that correct, on one side?
Correct. No parking signs on Laura Ann and also on Indian Hills, for a
Okay.
section of Indian Hills, not the whole thing.
And have we been able to make contact with Little League yet, or is that in
They're
process?
aware of it, and there again, it's the nature of the beast. I mean, it happens a couple times a year, and it was a big tournament, and they tried to get the word out but it's, so the no parking signs I think will help in the future, because then you can enforce it. Right now, there's
Permanent.
nothing to enforce.
Okay,
Yeah,
you.
I think when I talked to the individual who sent the complaint in, I think it's just during certain, like, big tournaments, like the T-Town Showdown was the main thing, everyone was congested there, a bunch of teams, so.
Yep, and I drove through it, and it was tight.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you for the quick response when I sent you the email, I appreciate that. It was over the weekend,
you're welcome.
thank you.
the resident was appreciative that,
Yeah.
there were several members that were contacted, and they seemed appreciative that they received a fast response, so thank you.
Okay, next up is Director of Finance, Ms. Gilbride.
Good evening. Thank you, everyone. I distributed the May financial reports, which you read into the record earlier. Our income tax continues to come in this year just as anticipated. We're not seeing a lot of major growth, and some of the areas have kind of been a little bit of a roller coaster ride. 1 month they're up, next month they're down, kind of thing. So, but they are coming in within budget expectations, so that is good. Our property taxes also have reconciled for the first half, so that has been reported, and those also have come in as anticipated. Everything else seems to be going as expected at this point, and I would be glad to entertain any specific questions anybody has.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Gilbride? Thank you for your report. Next up is Director of Law, Ms. Raber.
Thank you. I have no report this evening.
Thank you. Next up, we will go into reports of standing committee of council as a whole. And first up is planning and zoning. Ms. Pletcher, will you lead us off?
I will call planning and zoning to order. There are no additional items on the agenda. Is there anything that anybody would like to discuss? Okay, hearing none, I will close committee.
Thank you. Next up, I will have Ms. Sippa conduct finance. Ms. Sippa?
Called to order of Finance Committee. The Finance Committee deals with budget appropriations, reappropriations, bond, franchises, investments, and expenditures. We have two ordinances in third reading. The first is Ordinance 2025-53, authorizing and directing the Director of Public Service to uniformly increase water rates and providing for immediate enactment. Sponsors are Director of Public Service Rohr and Director of Finance Gilbride. Is there anything that you'd like to say about that?
Just be glad to answer any questions. Obviously, nothing is, we gave the presentation at the first meeting, and we really feel that at this time, it's going to be important that we increase those water rates to ensure the sustainability of the fund and our ability to make sure we're maintaining our water system properly.
Okay. Any questions from the council?
Since the presentation, there was some feedback from residents that was received. So one question that I wanted to kind of brainstorm on is some of our fixed income residents. Are there programs in place as this council has seen a few things come across our way as far as utility costs increasing, so this is just the latest one, that might be experiencing a financial burden. What programs do we have, or are there programs that we can offer?
So we currently offer a homestead exemption for our senior population. So if you are eligible for the homestead rebate on your property taxes, you receive a 25% credit on the sewer portion of your water bill. So that's kind of currently the only program that we have. We do work with our residents in giving them payment plans and those kind of things, but we do not have we don't have a large grouping of specific programming that we do. The homestead exemption is the main thing for the senior fixed income, and it's a rebate on the sewer portion of their bill, which is, as we saw in the
The large
presentation, the
portion.
very large portion of the bill.
And is there a reason why it's, or can you specify the reason why it's exclusive to the sewer portion only?
I cannot. That has been, been the program that's been offered since my time here. I don't know what the justification at that time was to limit it to just the sewer bill.
Okay. Is it something that we should consider expanding that to the water, since we are increasing it right now?
We can look into that. I didn't factor that, though, into my projection, so obviously that would
What the impact
somehow
would be.
I would probably need to look at what kind of impact that would have on my projections if we reduce that. I don't, I'd have to look at it, but I will be glad to do that. I'm not opposed to it.
If it takes us far away from our goal, that would kind of defeat the purpose. So I see that, but there are residents that express concern that have their fixed income.
Absolutely. Hopefully those people, though, are also not consuming. So our minimum water bill is $34. So the net impact the first year, I think, was $12 or $15 for the whole year.
Yeah.
So hopefully, that can be, but I encourage people also, I know with the quarterly bills, sometimes it's kind of jarring for people when they get that. So we do have mechanisms that people can set up monthly, biweekly, payments through our online payment system, if that helps them to better manage the cost through their budgets and those kind of things. But I will definitely do some analysis to look if there would be a possibility to expand that exemption to the water portion of the bill.
Okay.
Thank you for those questions. Any additional questions?
I don't believe we did, but I don't recall last time if we discussed what the communication strategy for the residents will be, that this is coming, other than all of our viewers at home right now.
We will go ahead and probably put a notice on the top of the website. I will also, we can put a notice on the bill as they get it so that they understand that there has been an increase. But typically, this would be the mechanism that we would use through having, public meetings about the increase.
Your presentation it draws a very clear picture as to why, so I do think it would be helpful to have something in the bill to help residents understand that, because.
And we can put that presentation on, that information on the website also for people to have. I think we did a similar thing when we increased the sewer rate, so we'll go ahead and we can create a page for people to go to understand why we're doing that on the website, and we could potentially have maybe put something out to direct people there on social media.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, you have a motion?
I'll move to adopt.
I'll second. Ordinance 2025-53.
Thank you.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Excuse me, if you can just ask for if there's any further discussion before the roll call vote. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Christine Sipa,
Yes.
Jessica Epstein,
Yes.
Donald Pavlik,
Yes.
Tracy Pletcher,
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-53 passes with a vote of 5-0. Or, I'm sorry, 4-0. We lost Ted. All right, ordinance 2025-56, authorizing the mayor to receive funding from the Summit County Land Reutilization Corporation Community Develop Matching Grant Fund for the demolition of the structure deemed blighted at 12 Southwest Avenue, and authorizing the mayor to enter into all necessary agreements pursuant to the Tallmadge demolition program, appropriating funds and providing for immediate enactment. Sponsors Mayor Kilway. Are there any additional comments, Mayor Kilway?
No, this is just basically the sister ordinance to the one that was already adopted for 12 Southwest Avenue, and it's just to receive the matching grant of, hang on a second here, my eyes are not working. I think the matching grant is, I think the total count is $19,570, so it'd be a 50% of that.
I thought you said it was around 9,000
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry, it's been a long day, my eyes aren't working real good.
I hear you. Any comments?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-56.
I'll second.
Okay, any additional comments to this? Okay, Sue, please call the roll.
Jessica Epstein,
Yes.
Donald Pavlik,
Yes.
Tracy Pletcher,
Yes.
Christine Sipa,
Yes. Ordinance 2025-56 passes with a vote of 4-0. There are no additional items. Does anyone have anything that they wish to bring up? Hearing none, we close Finance Committee.
Okay, thank you. Next up is personnel, and Ms. Sipa, if you can lead us in that.
I open Personnel. Personnel Committee deals with personnel, labor relations, insurance claims, rules of council, and state statutes. We are in the third readings of ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance 2024-75, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the International Association of Firefighters, Local 2764, and providing for immediate enactment. Sponsors Mayor Kilway. Did you have anything you wanted to?
No, we're just not ready for this, so just give it another reading,
Okay,
please.
we'll
Thank you.
leave that ordinance 2024-75 in third reading. Ordinance 2024-76, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police consisting of Tallmadge Police Patrol officers and providing for immediate enactment. Sponsor Mayor Kilway.
Just give another reading, please.
Okay, we'll leave
Thank
that in third reading of ordinance 2024-76. Ordinance 2024-77, authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police consisting of Tallmadge Police Sergeants and Tallmadge Police Lieutenants and providing for immediate enactment. Sponsor Mayor Kilway. Leaving it in third reading again?
Yes, please.
Okay, we'll leave ordinance 2024-77 in third reading. We have first reading of an ordinance 2025-58, appropriating additional funds for a full-time assistant law director and providing for immediate enactment. Sponsor is Director of Law Raver.
Thank you. I am asking for your consideration for my office to be able to move from, right now we have one full-time assistant law director and one part-time assistant law director, to make that second position be a full-time position. I had intended to ask for this as part of the budget cycle, and that would have been my ideal preference. However, the part-time assistant law director has given notice and will be leaving at the beginning of July. That means that I will be looking for the replacement, and as I experienced from the last time where I was seeking to fill that position as a part-time position, I'm pulling from far fewer potential applicants when I am advertising for a part-time position. I received 2 applications last time, and I had far more options when I was advertising for a full-time position. With regard to the amount of work that my office does, we are increasingly busy, and I believe that having that full-time position will be extremely beneficial to the overall functioning of the city. My office assists all the different departments with all the myriad of different policy issues, personnel issues. We help residents. We deal with the municipal prosecutorial services for the city. We deal with records requests. We assist with civil litigation. And so all of those things are an ongoing demand on our time. We have continued to experience even more demands as we have additional video equipment, as we have additional officers. Our officer caseload increased significantly in 2024 from what it had been in 2023, which is a great uptick to see that the officers are busy, but that does mean that we are also busy. We also have seen, again, with record requests, that we've got far more time consumed with all the additional video recordings that are now available through body cam footage and cruiser cam footage. And so the amount of time it takes for us to do that analysis is significant. We have outsourced a lot of that, but even doing that, we have to double check that things are done appropriately before we actually do the release. And there's a new law that was enacted earlier this year that places a cap on the amount that someone can be charged for that footage. So if we are exceeding that amount, we're trying to take that on ourselves and do that. So, for example, right now, the Assistant Law Director has been working diligently to fulfill a request for weeks and weeks. That's extraordinarily voluminous. Additionally, we have seen an increase in collaboration with different offices and positions, which means that's great for the functioning and efficiency of the city, but it does pull me away from being able to complete different projects. So oftentimes, I have a lot of things that have to get backburnered for the immediate, things, which we all have that in our jobs, but it would be nice to be able to get to some of the additional trainings that we want to do, some of the additional projects that we have, again, for the benefit of the city being able to function appropriately and smoothly. If this position were to be approved for the remainder of this year, it would be an additional appropriation of $40,000, which is what I'm requesting. I am requesting, moving forward, that it would be budgeted for, I will be able to make a better assessment as to what that cost will be once I am able to fill that position. So obviously, the level of experience of whoever I'm bringing aboard will play a role into how much money would be appropriated. The amount that I'm asking for now, though, would be at like a band 8 level, which is one band below the current band 9 assistant law director position. And my intention is that as we go through the budgetary process, I would be asking to change the title so that we have an assistant law director position at a band 8, and then a deputy assistant law director or deputy law director at the band 9, which is the current band. So it wouldn't affect the pay because I'm intending to hire at that lower band if this were to be approved. So I know there's a lot of information. I am asking for your consideration. The sooner I'm able to know that I have this approved, or hope that I have this approved, then I'll be able to move forward with advertising and getting someone in place to be able to fill that role. And again, the demands on my office are are constant and heavy, and so we would like to be able to move in that direction if possible.
So I'm assuming the additional 40,000 is over and above plus the part-time.
Right, so we had money
Okay.
appropriated for the part-time position
Okay.
this year. That person, again, because anyone, I mean, I guess you could find that rare person that doesn't have another part-time position, but because there was another, there's, they're doing another job, was not able to even provide the full amount of hours that I was hoping for that person to be able to provide. So it really is, so we have that leftover money that was from the budget being applied to it, plus the additional, plus I am budgeting for a family insurance. And again, depending on who I would get, I may not need that full amount, but I'm asking for that in the event that I would.
That was my next question, if insurance is also included in everything.
Yes. And I'm asking for it at the higher amount for that band to the midpoint, again, just in case I have someone that does have that level of experience. And again, if I wouldn't, then I would adjust accordingly.
And that would only be $40,000 you would need?
For this year.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, for this year.
Yes, yeah.
The other question is, since you want this approved like immediately, right?
If at all possible.
But there's only 4 of us here, so if there's 4 of us here, it takes 30 days. So wouldn't it be quicker if we waited 2 weeks, have everyone here so that it can be approved?
So the difference in the date of adoption would be either, if you passed it tonight, it wouldn't go into effect until July 12th. But I could bring on I could start advertising for a person knowing that it was approved and just not actually do the hire date until the date of the effective date. But I could at least start the process of trying to fill the position. If we don't, then, I would, you could wait until I would ask that you at least do it by maybe next meeting. But again, I'm happy to answer any questions, and I don't, I'm looking to fill it just because there's an immediate need. And again, I would have not have asked for it outside of the budget cycle had it not been for the fact that this is now a vacancy coming up, so.
I would recommend just waiting until the next meeting so that it can be approved immediately. I understand that you want to get the ball rolling on that, but I'm just thinking it's safer because you could find a candidate right away, and you're not going to be able to start till July 12th, and he or she could leave and go somewhere else, and you lose that candidate, so you lost that time, right? I mean, that's just my 2 cents. I don't know how anybody else feels about that.
How do you feel about that?
Again, I think I'll be able to start the process now, so I'm okay. I don't want to, if you want to wait, you can wait. I feel like if I at least know that this is approved, then I can move forward. So I will leave that to your discretion to decide, but if not at first reading tonight, I would ask for it at the next meeting to be considered, please.
Well, by the time you start advertising, you gather your applications, you're looking at 2 weeks, okay? Then you're doing your interviewing. They have to give a 2-week notice, hopefully, which takes it in the middle of July anyway.
Right.
So why push it along farther?
Right. So I might just do it tonight.
Yeah.
That would be me.
I'm
Guys?
fine with it. I mean, if we take a straw poll of what we're going to do, I get what what the job entails now. And having a part-time, you can fill that part-time, but they're only part-time, right? I get it. I would say I'm fine. I'm fine either way. I'm just thinking that it might be faster if we wait. And I think I would be okay approving it in 2 weeks, right? And I don't want to speak for the others, but.
So just considering the full-time versus the part-time, I'm assuming that the part-time position has been less stable than the full-time position, or that there's been more turnover in the part-time position?
So this is the first time we've had the part-time position, and I was hoping that I would be able to make it work with that. again, it has not proven to be a success. And I think that we have enough work that we can keep that full-time person. If we switch over to a full-time person can definitely stay busy in that office.
We'd be able to probably retain them a little.
And I think you're going to have better pool of applicants. You're going to have more opportunity to get someone with better experience because they're coming potentially from another part-time position or full-time position. You're not going to attract someone who's in a full-time position now to come to a part-time position typically. And then hopefully that does lead to more stability because they're also getting benefits. They're able to stay and be more stable. And generally speaking, I think you tend to see that in a part-time versus full-time
Sure.
environment.
I think
You had
the
also
part-time-
mentioned that, as far as contracting out work, and sometimes it's specific work that we're contracting out in the various areas of expertise, it makes sense. With having full-time and having those additional hours on the payroll, is there a potential of cost savings by not having to contract out certain work?
I do think that as long as I can find an applicant who has the experience that I'm hoping for, that we would be able to keep some of the matters that are smaller matters that sometimes we ask for assistance on, we would be able to handle internally because we'd have more bandwidth to be able to do that.
Okay.
Again, I'm not going to sit here and tell council that we would be able to handle all the issues because sometimes we really do need outside counsel that does have that area of expertise.
But I think as you had the part-time, even if the part-time person would still be there, you were still going to come at budget time to increase it to a full-time.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you've got why hire another why hire another part-time person just for you, 4 months later to start the process of, hey, I'm going to build in the budget a full-time.
Correct, because I would want to be transparent with that, with whoever I was hiring, and again, unless something amazingly different happened than the last experience, I would think that I would want to reopen that, if whenever we had the full-time position to a new applicant, so I'd be telling the person, hey, by the way, you may not have this job in 4 months, so 6 months. I guess, because we're into July.
As far as consideration of the ordinance itself, I can see the benefits of a full-time position. I don't have an issue passing it tonight if that's it, because it allows you to start advertising, and there is it does take time to, I don't think that's my position to determine when you start advertising in that sense. I'm just considering if this should be passed.
As Ms. Tippa said, there are definitely advantages for me to be able to get started right now because
Yeah.
it is a process. It does take time to do the advertisements, get the responses. You got to give them time to be able to respond, go through the interview process, and then they usually need to have some kind of notice to their employer as well. So the sooner I can get started, the better. And again, the effective date will end up being around the same time, but my end result, I think I'll be able to start sooner and get them in actually quicker if we move forward. So
The only thing about approving it today would be that you cannot set their hire date before July 12th,
The
correct?
ordinance.
correct.
But you can say, we're going to be offering you the job, the start date will be July 13th, let's say, or whatever.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. You're going to need 4 weeks at least. At least.
Well,
Yeah, why delay?
with that, I'll make a motion to pass ordinance 2025-58.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay. Clerk, please call the roll.
Donald Pavlik.
Yes.
Tracy Fletcher.
Yes.
Christine Sippa.
Yes.
Jessica Epstein.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Got to find out where I was, sorry. Okay, ordinance 2025-58 passes with a vote of 4-0. There are no additional items before the Personnel Committee. Do we have any others that need to be brought up? Hearing none, I close committee.
Thank you. Next up, we'll move to safety, and since the chair and the vice chair is out, Ms. Epstein, will you take the safety committee?
Sure, my pleasure. I call Safety Committee to order. The Safety Committee deals with disaster services, communications, fire and paramedics, police, and health. This evening at second reading of ordinances, we have ordinance 2025-57, appropriating one Ohio opioid settlement funds for naloxone to be available in city parks and providing for immediate enactment. The sponsors are Director of Finance Gilbride and Director of Law Rayburn.
Thank you. If I may, there was some questions that were raised with regard to how the functioning of the boxes would be. I was able to connect with the Summit County Health Department and talked with Megan Scott, and she provided me some resources that essentially we would be, that the temperature control is best practice and you want it to be at the appropriate temperature. But I think there was a question about what happens if the power is out and the temperature slides into something else, does it become ineffective? And the answer is no, provided it's back at the regular temperature. So if in the event that the electric was out, that could be reported to dispatch and then they could not use that item. There is a Good Samaritan law that protects everybody with immunity when they're using naloxone to help revive people. So that it was not a concern. And we just need to make sure that we're checking the equipment. And I had spoken with Jessica Simon, who said that we've already got a contract in place with the same people that do all our first aid supplies to make sure that they would be going out to the parks to make sure that both the AED unit and the naloxone was appropriately, still in place and still stored appropriately. So I was satisfied that those issues would not be a problem.
And I actually have a question. The agenda, it says second reading, but this is, and I read it as second reading, but this is that third reading, is it not?
I thought so as well.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, it is a third reading.
We'll make that change in the agenda in the minutes.
Yeah, and I think it might be the second, third reading, but it's at least at third. Yeah.
Okay, that answers a lot of those pending questions, so thank you for that. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-57.
A second?
Thank you. Is there any additional discussion from council? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Tracy Pletcher,
Yes.
Christine Sippa,
Yes.
Jessica Epstein,
Yes.
Donald Pavlik,
Yes.
Ordinance number 2025-57 has passed with a vote of 4-0. That concludes our ordinances for Safety Committee. We have no additional items. Are there any additional items from council? Hearing none, I close Safety Committee.
Thank you. Next up, we have community issues, and Ms. Pletcher, will you lead us in community issues?
Sure. I open Community Issues Committee. There are no items on the agenda this evening. Does anybody have anything they wish to discuss? Okay, I will close Community Issues.
Thank you. Next up, public service, Ms. Epstein.
Thank you. I call Public Service Committee to order. The Public Service Committee deals with streets, highways, sidewalks, buildings and improvements, water, sewer, electricity, gas, energy resources, recycling, waste, and trash. We have no ordinances or resolutions before us this evening. Are there any additional items from council? Hearing none, I close committee.
Thank you. That concludes the reports of standing committee. Next up is reports of special committee. There are none to report. Is there anything that needs to be brought before reports of special committee? Okay, hearing none, we will go on to announcements. And I have two announcements. Bittersweet on both these announcements. First off, Miss Conti, Regina Conti, who is our assistant law clerk, will be retiring from the city of Tallmadge after 13 years, effective sometime in August. She has chosen to take early retirement. She is 39 years old, but she's going to get retirement, but she knows some people down in Columbus to pull some strings to get retirement. So we will plan something special for Miss Conti at a later date, but it's going to be sometime in August. Next, our clerk, Miss Burton. She also is announcing her retirement after 30 illustrious years. She kind of gave Mr. Bolus and I kind of the whole background and how she got hired and how it all came about. So after 30 years, she too is choosing to take early retirement at the age of 39. And she too knows special people down in Columbus to make it work so that she gets her full OPERS benefits. Ms. Burton is going to retire sometime in September, maybe October. It just depends on how long it's going to take the process to find Ms. Burton's replacement. And at a later date, we will plan something for Ms. Burton, but I wanted the city, the administration, and the public to know of the intentions of Ms. Conti and Ms. Burton. So we thank you for your service. Ms. Conti, I know you'll be watching. We thank you for your service as well. Thank you. So next up, adjournment. We'll need a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn?
Is there a second?
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ms. Burton, will you please call the roll?
Hold on 1 second. Tracy Pletcher,
Yes?
Christine Zippa,
Yes.
Jessica Epstein,
Yes?
Donald Pavlik.
Yes. With that, adjournment passes with a motion of 4-0. It is now 8:56. I close council.